Have you ever opened a bag of chips or a box of cookies, promising yourself you would only eat one, but suddenly you look down and the package is empty? You feel that heavy sensation in your stomach, a fog in your brain, and a deep sense of guilt. You wonder, why do I have zero willpower? But what if I told you that willpower has nothing to do with it? What if I told you that your brain is reacting to that cookie exactly the same way a brain reacts to hard drugs? Welcome back. Today we are going to dive deep into a subject that affects almost everyone, but very few people truly understand. We are going to answer a controversial question. Is sugar actually as addictive as drugs? And more importantly, if you struggle with binge eating, that uncontrollable urge to keep eating even when you are full, why is sugar your worst enemy? We are going to explore the hidden mechanisms in your brain, the secrets of the food industry, and the biology of your gut. By the end of this video, you will understand that you are not broken. You are simply stuck in a chemical loop. And the good news is, you can break it. Let's start with a reality check. You live in a world that is not designed for your biology. Your genes, the code that builds your body, expects a world where food is scarce. According to Robb Wolf in his book Wired to Eat, if you are living in a modern city with abundance and leisure time, and you don't struggle with some level of weight or food issues, you are actually the biological oddity. Wolf explains that our species made it this far because our genes are programmed to eat anything that isn't bolted down. We are wired to consume as many calories as possible with the least amount of effort. This is called the optimal foraging strategy. In nature, this kept us alive. But today, you don't have to hunt. You can order a pizza from your couch. You take fewer steps in a day than your ancestors took in an hour.
This creates a massive conflict. Your genetics are screaming at you to eat that donut because for millions of years, finding that much energy was a miracle. But now, it's a trap. And it is not just about calories. It is about how your brain is being hacked. Let's talk about the brain. You've heard of dopamine, right? It is the feel-good chemical. It is the neurotransmitter that tells your brain, this is good, do it again. It is the same chemical released when people fall in love, win money, or take drugs like cocaine. According to Nora Volkov, a psychiatrist and research scientist mentioned in Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Moss, sugar activates the exact same reward pathways in the brain as narcotics. When you eat sugar, your brain releases a surge of dopamine. You feel a temporary high, but just like with drugs, your brain adapts. Over time, you need more sugar to get that same feeling. This is called tolerance. And then comes the withdrawal. Have you ever tried to quit sugar and felt irritable, tired, or even got a headache? That isn't just missing a taste. That is a chemical withdrawal symptom. Your brain is panicking because its easy source of dopamine has been cut off.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, sugar is bad, I get it. But it is much more calculated than that. This isn't accidental. The food you buy in the supermarket is engineered to be addictive. According to Michael Moss in Salt, Sugar, Fat, the food industry employs top scientists to find something called the Bliss Point. This is the precise amount of sugar, fat, and salt that maximizes your pleasure without triggering your brain's stop signal. Imagine a graph. If something isn't sweet enough, you don't like it. If it is too sweet, you stop eating it. But right in the middle, there is a peak. That is the bliss point. When a product hits that peak, your brain lights up, but your satiety mechanism, the switch that tells you "I'm full," gets overridden. You keep eating because your body literally doesn't register that it has had enough. Moss explains that sugar is not just a sweetener, it is a miracle ingredient for manufacturers. It adds bulk, texture, and it hides the nasty taste of preservatives. It replaces expensive ingredients like tomatoes and ketchup. So you're eating sugar in places you never expect. Bread, pasta sauce, salad dressing, even healthy yogurt. This constant bombardment desensitizes your palate. According to Robb Wolf, this leads to palate fatigue. In nature, if you ate too much of one thing, your palate would get tired of the flavor, signaling you to stop. But modern processed food is hyper-palatable. It is designed to be so stimulating that you never get tired of it. You can eat a whole bag of chips because the flavor profile is scientifically perfectly balanced to keep you wanting more. This brings us to binge eating. Why does it happen? Why can't you just eat one cookie? Think of your hunger regulation like a gas tank. When the tank is full, the pump stops automatically. That is how your body should work. But what if the pump is broken? What if the sensor is jammed? That is what sugar and processed foods do. They jam the sensor. Robb Wolf describes a phenomenon called the dessert effect. You finish a huge dinner. You're stuffed. You say, "I couldn't eat another bite." But then the waiter brings the dessert tray. Suddenly you have room for cheesecake. Why? Because the new flavor profile, sweet and fatty, bypasses your satiety signals. It re-engages your appetite. When you binge, you are essentially chasing a dopamine high that you can never quite catch. And this is dangerous because, according to David Perlmutter in Grain Brain, high blood sugar and the resulting inflammation are the root causes of brain degeneration. Perlmutter explains that inflammation is the silent killer. It is the same fire that causes arthritis in your knees and blockages in your heart. But when that fire burns in your brain, it leads to depression, anxiety, and eventually cognitive decline. So when you binge on sugary foods, you aren't just gaining weight, you are inflaming your brain. You are making it harder to think clearly, harder to make good decisions, and harder to resist the next binge. It is a vicious cycle.
Let's go deeper. It is not just your brain, it is your gut. You might have heard the phrase, "trust your gut," but did you know your gut is actually talking to your brain? According to nutritionist Blanca Garcia Orea Haro in her book Dime qué comes y te diré qué bacterias tienes, Tell me what you eat and I'll tell you what bacteria you have, there's a direct communication line called the gut-brain axis. Your intestine contains trillions of bacteria, known as the microbiota. And here is the shocking part. These bacteria can manipulate your cravings. If you eat a lot of sugar and processed foods, you feed the bad bacteria. These bacteria thrive on sugar. They grow and multiply, and they send chemical signals to your brain demanding more sugar. So when you feel that intense craving for chocolate at 10 p.m., it might not be you who wants it. It might be your bacteria screaming for dinner. Garcia Orea Haro explains that 90% of your serotonin, the hormone that regulates happiness and sleep, is produced in your gut, not your head. If your gut is inflamed from bad food, you don't produce enough serotonin. You feel sad, anxious, or depressed. And what do we do when we feel sad? We eat comfort food to get a dopamine hit. We binge. It connects back to what Rubén González says in his book Alimentos Psicológicos, Psychological Foods. He argues that food directly influences our mental state. He shares his own story of suffering stomach issues that ruined his mood for years. He realized that without a healthy body, you cannot have a healthy mind.
So, we have established that sugar acts like a drug, the industry engineers food to exploit your biology, and your gut bacteria might be hijacking your brain. Now, how do we fix this? How do we stop the binging? First, you need to understand that moderation often fails with addictive substances. You wouldn't tell an alcoholic to just drink in moderation, right? For some people, sugar is that powerful. Gretchen Rubin, author Better Than Before, suggests that people fall into two categories, abstainers and moderators. Abstainers find it easier to give something up completely than to do it a little bit. If you are an abstainer, having one cookie triggers a binge. For you, the easiest path is to remove the trigger entirely. According to the advice in Grain Brain recipes, you must clear your pantry. If it is in your house, you will eat it. It is that simple. You need to remove the hyperpalatable foods. Get rid of the bread, the pasta, the cookies, and even the artificial sweeteners.
Artificial sweeteners are tricky. According to Louise Hay and her co-authors in Loving Yourself to Great Health, sweeteners like aspartame are chemicals your body doesn't understand. They're designed to trick your body, but you cannot trick your biology. They can cause negative health effects and mess with your mood. Real food doesn't need a chemistry set to be edible. You need to reset your palate. Robb Wolf suggests a 30-day reset. For 30 days, you eat only whole, unprocessed foods: meat, vegetables, nuts, seeds, some fruit. No sugar, no grains, and no processed dairy. Why 30 days? Because that is how long it takes to calm down the inflammation and reset your neuroregulation of appetite. At first, your food might taste boring. Your brain, used to the explosion of flavor from Doritos, will say, "This broccoli is flavorless." That is the withdrawal. But if you stick with it, something amazing happens. Your taste buds change. Suddenly, a strawberry tastes incredibly sweet. A piece of dark chocolate feels rich and satisfying. You start to appreciate the natural flavors of food. You break the palate fatigue. And during this time, you need to focus on nutrient density. According to Matt Lalonde from Harvard, mentioned by Robb Wolf, organ meats, herbs, and spices are some of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. They give your body what it actually needs, so it stops screaming for more calories. Speaking of spices, did you know they can help you fight cravings? According to 101 superfoods that fight aging, spices like cinnamon help regulate blood sugar. Turmeric is a powerful anti-inflammatory. Using these in your cooking makes healthy food taste better and fights the fire in your brain. Let's talk about the practical side of stopping a binge before it starts. You need to be a defensive driver in your own life. If you know that 3 p.m. is your weak point, don't rely on willpower. Willpower is a limited resource. Have a plan. Have healthy food ready. If you are hungry, eat a meal. Eat protein and healthy fats. David Perlmutter emphasizes that fat is your friend. This is a hard concept for many because we've been told for years that fat makes us fat. But healthy fats, like avocado, olive oil, nuts, and eggs, are fuel for the brain. They are satiating. When you eat fat, you feel full. You don't get that insulin spike and crash that comes from carbs. Remember the study mentioned in Grain Brain? People on a low-carb, high-fat diet lost more weight and had better cholesterol markers than those on a low-fat diet. Fat doesn't trigger the addictive dopamine loop the way sugar does. You rarely hear of someone binging on pure olive oil or butter. You binge on donuts, which are sugar and fat combined, usually bad fats. Also, consider the social aspect. We often binge because we are lonely or stressed. We use food to fill a void that isn't physical. As Louise Hay suggests, we need to love ourselves to health. If you are eating to soothe an emotion, pause. Ask yourself, what do I really need right now? Maybe you need a hug, a nap, or just to step outside. Now let's address the withdrawal phase again, because this is where most people fail. When you cut sugar, your gut bacteria, the bad ones, will die off. This can actually make you feel worse for a few days. You might get brain fog or skin breakouts. This is often called a healing crisis. To help your body through this, you need to support your digestion.
According to the book Dime qué comes y te diré qué bacterias tienes, you can use probiotics to repopulate your gut with good bacteria. Fermented foods like sauerkraut or kimchi are excellent. You also need to watch out for hidden sugars. Read labels. If a product has more than 5 ingredients or ingredients you can't pronounce, don't eat it. Remember Michael Moss's warning, the industry hides sugar everywhere to keep you hooked. And what about fasting? Robb Wolf mentions that our ancestors naturally fasted when food wasn't available. Intermittent fasting can be a powerful tool to reset your insulin sensitivity. It teaches your body to burn its own fat for fuel instead of constantly relying on sugar intake. But start slowly. Don't jump into a 24-hour fast if you are currently eating every 2 hours. Let's bring this all together. You are not weak. You are fighting against millions of years of evolutionary biology, billions of dollars of food engineering, and trillions of bacteria in your own gut. But you have the ultimate weapon, awareness. Now that you know about the Bliss Point, you can spot it. Now that you know about the dopamine loop, you can anticipate the crash. Now that you know your gut bacteria are manipulating you, you can starve the bad ones and feed the good ones. Real food doesn't have a marketing department. Broccoli doesn't have a TV commercial. You have to be your own advocate. Imagine your life 3 months from now. You wake up with clear energy. You walk past the bakery and you don't feel that magnetic pull. You eat a meal and you feel satisfied, not stuffed. Your brain is sharp. Your mood is stable. This isn't a fantasy. It is your biology waiting to be unleashed. If you fall off the wagon, if you binge, don't beat yourself up. Shame is a terrible motivator. As Ruben Gonzalez says, change takes time. It might take years to undo decades of bad habits. Just get back to the plan with the next meal. This journey is about reclaiming your freedom. Freedom from the pantry, freedom from the cravings, and freedom from the brain fog.
If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It helps us spread this message to more people who are struggling with these same issues. And I want to hear from you in the comments. What is the one food you find impossible to stop eating? Let's identify our triggers together. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video, where we will discuss exactly what to eat to repair your gut lining and boost your serotonin naturally. You don't want to miss that. Until next time, take care of your brain and feed your body what it truly deserves.